Ladies and gentlemen, Pronago bringing you another little bit of semifinal coverage here this time around for the Tribunal stage. We're entering into our first semifinal matchup, which is Shopkeeper Dog taking on the Shambler. Let's take a quick look at the bracket and see how we got to this point. Shopkeeper Dog, obviously a 3-0 over Sausage. We saw that uploaded to the channel recently. All these quarterfinal matchups available for your viewing pleasure before we get into this set of matches. But Shambler making the upset against Neblime puts us at TvT. I thought this would be Neblime going on to face Shopkeeper Dog. A little bit of an underperformance from the Aussie, overperformance from the American. We're not quite sure. Meanwhile, on the other side of the bracket, Doglived just stomped over AOT. Same sort of fashion that he did versus Smarty Cakes, perhaps more dominantly, though. Bit of a stylistic mismatch there from AOT's side. Unfortunate, the greed did not work out for him in the end. And down here in the bottom right, we have Newt making the expected result against Cannoli, although it was not 3-0, which maybe we would have been encouraged to say. Cannoli, a little bit tenacious there, scoring a win. So we are going to be popping into the semi-finals, looking at Shopkeeper Dog versus the Shambler, and then Doglived taking on Newt. So that's going to be our bracket, and now it's time to get into it. So let us do that right here, right now. We have the Shambler in the bottom right of Crisis Vector for our first match here. Picked by Shopkeeper Dog, of course, in the top left. He is the orange Terran going up against the white Terran. Now, let me just set expectations. I know Shambler's known as the Maverick Menace. He is not going to be going bio in probably any of these games, if I had to speculate. I guess maybe there's a chance that there's like a map for it where he decides to go like to Stockade, maybe proxied close to Shopkeeper Dog. But I think that he knows Shop Dog's Vulture Micro and timings are going to be on point. In fact, usually, since Shambler goes for the Worker Scout, as he has done in this particular map, you will end up seeing the Fulcrum come out a little bit faster for Shopkeeper Dog, and therefore, we're even going to see that the Vulture will be out sooner, typically. So it's interesting to see how that is going to take shape. I hope you guys are having a good time watching the Tribunals. I know that we only have Terran players these days, but that's just the way it is at this stage of the tournament. If you look at, if we didn't have Weekend Wage, and we only had the results of the Tribunals to go off of for competitive stuff, you would actually come to the conclusion that Terran is really imba. It's like clearly the best race. Or maybe you could be more generous and say, well, perhaps the actual story here is that Terran is just, played by the best players. Oh, Shop Dog. He's trading workers here just to make sure that Shambler doesn't kill him. That's funny. But yeah, generally speaking, we will indeed have a fair amount of Terran players here, but Terran victories in Weekend Wage are not that common, to be honest with you guys. We had Oya and Ziki cleaning house for a while. Ayud played as Zerg and was routed. He did win one as Terran. Newt has been winning a few as Terran, but that's in the absence of those pro players. So I feel like we have to wait a little bit longer before we actually see what's up. Yeah, Vilius in the YouTube chat. Yeah, Terran players are just better. Speaking of, Shopkeeper Dog is going to be excised from this base, as Mason can no longer provide him any intel. So it will be vultures on both sides, no surprises there. And this best of 5 could end up being on the longer side. TvT, even in Cosmonarchy, can go a little bit on the longer side. So I guess all I can say is, button up, strap in, buckle up. That's what I was going to say. Button up is, what I did this morning when I put the shirt on. But buckle up for sure. For sure. Shopkeeper Dog looking for the expansion. Looks like both players are around the same time. Well, I say that, and then Shambler immediately goes Goliath Cyclops, so he's happy to prove me wrong. This is an interesting little, build. If it were not for the Cyclops, I'd start to think about the Goliath presence as like, I always think about that Nicholas build that he did that just bamboozled all the Protoss players for a short period of time. Zevi and Sausage being chief among them. But now that the Goliath is sauntering forward, it kind of looks pretty nice in the white color, actually. I like that. I think some tones really look good on Terran units since our rendering changes, and I appreciate that. What's up, Adam? Until I buttoned up the shirt, yeah. I feel like there are a lot of people out there who just have a single outfit they always wear, right? there's some stories out there of people who like, yep, they just eliminated that decision from their brain so they could be more efficient about everything else. And I kind of am like that with my food. I typically always have the same breakfast, but I don't know. I like picking out the outfit, and I do sometimes lay it out beforehand. You know, I pick it out the night before, but sometimes I just reach for something specific because I'm feeling it that day or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know if that would work for me. Always wearing a button-up shirt, but it could be a good gimmick for branding. Let's be real. There's always branding gimmicks out there. Fulcrum number 3 coming up for Shambler. One thing you're going to notice about Shambler is his Sim City is questionable at best. We actually casted a match that this was played, you know, maybe a few days ago, not so long ago, but earlier this past weekend, maybe, or maybe it was like late last week, something like that, but a few days ago. And but more recently, we casted a game where he almost got slapped by Thunder Slaps 2. Recently sent us a $5 donation. Thank you, homie. And the funniest thing happened there, at least from my perspective, which is Shambler started putting down like stockades anywhere he could, anywhere he had idle masons, and that included in his natural. And it got delayed for maybe, I don't know, 2 long minutes. Masons just kept dying trying to make it because the Zerg were there. So, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. We got Godweed in the chat. What's up, brother? Kutyam as well. Terran is just better in every way compared to every other race, to be honest. a true Terran chauvinist right there. I like it. I dig it. Humans are better than non-humans. We are finding that out with AI on the daily. So shout out to you. Hey, we got the Covenant build coming for Shopkeeper Dog and a scrapyard as well. So this is going to be Eidolon. This is going to be Blackjack Eidolon for our Shopkeeper. And the response so far, I don't think Shambler has actually sussed this out yet. We'll see if he paid attention to Shopkeeper Dog's games on the ladder. Like he did play this build against Kutyam and in a few other practice environments, and, you know, Replay Kraken does exist, so you can just pull... We can even search by player name now. You can just straight up pull up the Cosmonarchy match page and search your opponent in a tournament and then see what latest games they have. You can even, you know, filter it out by, like, oh, he was playing Protoss that game, so that's not going to help me because I'm trying to see what his Terran looks like, you know, stuff like that. So I think that's really cool. I dig that a lot. That being said, we definitely have some interesting setups here from the Shambler, because if he goes for Anseals, right, for the detection angle, like, he's probably going to go a lot of Anseals anyway, because that's just his style. But I think Eidolons can really work against what Shambler typically builds, although I haven't really seen his TvT lately. But I would say that Shambler, if he's going to go for like a stockade making, you know, vestry units so that he can have shamans to sustain his Cyclops. He has a lot of Cyclops, by the way. And now as Anseal flies into Scout, it will be sacrificed at the altar of the Watchdog, shall we say. But it spots the Eidolon. So what's the change up? He goes for a couple of Anseals. Honestly, respect. All right, then. All right, let's see. Let's see what happens. Also, I do want to just point out that Shopkeeper Hog versus the Handler is a really good spoof. Like, if I have to import these guys into the game but not use their likeness, I can get away with the Handler and Shopkeeper Hog. That's pretty spooky. So coming on in, the few limited lobotomy mines for Shambler are still hanging out here, but it will be soon enough that the power generator falls, and now we're going to start to see those Eidolons ranging down from across these chasms. You really want to space your army across the different spots. There's no other way to make it happen. Oh, God, the Anseals are stunned. But at the same time, Shopkeeper Dog, he just walked right forward with his Eidolons, straight into the Lion's Den with all those Cyclops shots. He's got a couple Matadors coming out, but I think his army's been reset, essentially. One Valkyrie was present. It will be surplus to requirements now because, well, there's one Anseal here, I suppose. Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about this, but the Cyclops shells will take a long time to kill the Valkyries. You could use them as emergency paintbrushes in a moment's notice to just sort of brush all that damage aside. Yeah, you can see that's exactly what Shopdog wants to do. Spread that friendly splash, make it a little bit easier for his own Cyclops to make matters just that much worse for the Shambler. But still, pushing forward, very aggressive play. And was Shopkeeper Dog a little bit too hasty? He's got a Palladium on the way. That could be denied. If it is denied, though, that is an option for, you know, like, Shambler's got it's got to spend a lot of his Cyclops potential over here. Pulling the Masons with the intent of just driving this assault back. That's a humongous economic advantage now for the Shambler. And the Cyclops style seems very well equipped to deal with what's happening here. We've got Matadors coming out on an emergency sort of protocol. The Antseal still maintaining, well, it's trying to shield the Eidolons, clearly. That's what that's what he's trying to do. Forgot whose units were whose, I suppose. Just a graveyard of Masons and Cyclops. And no, it's not even at the mineral line. Okay, another ministry was made. It was also attempted to be used to try to absorb some of those Cyclops shells and distribute them to the enemy backline, but it was not super successful in that endeavor. We've got a sieve in the natural, not in the main here for Shambler. I'm thinking about his win con here as he adds a scrapyard. Clearly he wants to start adding his own Matadors to the mix. I don't think blackjacks help you too much here. I guess they spend down your minerals. But, you know, you could just expand more. And that's exactly what Shambler is doing right now, landing his own third base. Sure, our base counts are similar, but Shopdog is behind by 12 workers. I'm a little bit worried that any unit pops out on this side. We'll have to go all the way around the stockades now because of this building placement, by the way. But stockade number 4 and Fulcrum's, I guess I was going to say, you know, 3 and 4, but it's actually 4 and 5. On the way for Shopdog. Starting to add Phalanx into the mix. This should definitely give him a stronger position with which to hold this aggression from Shambler. And sometimes the worker count can be a little deceptive. You can see the Valkyrie was trying to make up its mind there. Shopdog deciding what he wants to do with it. Now he's going to sick him onto the Antseals and push those Antseals further back so that the Eidolons get that free reign. But now there's nothing to actually put in between these Eidolons and all of their victims. Their victims have turned into attackers, into victors, and all these bases getting cleaned up is just even more worse for wear on the eco. Phalanxes can and will drive this back if given the opportunity, but is Shambler going to get it right in their face? The answer right now is no. It looks like he is still watching this fight, but he's not microing the way that you would want him to. 2 HP on that Goliath. It finally goes down, and the Matador will be next. A couple of more units are sort of being distributed. Wow, this turned into a slugfest real quick, didn't it? How many Fulcrums do we have? 7 Fulcrum right now for Shambler. He has spread them out in perhaps the worst way possible. But that's okay. Star pads are at least a little bit more organized. No healing just yet for Shambler, I'm noticing. He's avoiding making Shamans. He doesn't want to bother with that in this matchup. And I think that's the right choice. Eidolons can obviously snipe them. Phalanxes wreck them. They just don't heal enough to deal with either the single target focus of a bunch of Eidolons or the insane DPS of a Phalanx. So I think that makes a lot of sense to forego the Shaman in this particular case. A lot of Vultures and a lot of Harakans. Right now for Shopkeeper Dog, clearly switching away from a Vespene intensive strat. And unless he just now decided to make more Eidolon. I was going to say, if he keeps going on the only 50 Vespene cost of the Phalanx, it's a lot of minerals, obviously, he might be saving gas so that he can go for Tier 2. And this low ground base, it offers the 2 gas, but I think that's a bit of a fool's errand right now trying to defend that. Again, those Valkyries are going to have free reign over the Antseals, but the Matadors are raking havoc over here, absolutely annihilating what little Shopkeeper Dog has. Is he about to be broken? That ministry is under a lot of duress, a lot of pain and suffering happening over here for the Shopkeeper camp. His Eidolon strategy not quite working out, but finally they will get a little bit more active. Maybe they can pop that Antseal. There's still 2 Cyclops over here. I guess the ministry will barely stay alive, so silver linings, perhaps. 1 Matador could clear all those mines if it wanted. Yeah, Shambler's just on a much superior economy. Does he have another ministry? Yeah, he's going to go ahead and pop that guy down at 6 o'clock, I think. Hog lived. Oh, God. Guys, I'm looking at this incredible match here. I'm not looking at hogs. Holy shit, Mavericks. Mavericks in TvT. That's the thumbnail. Goliaths are in very, very high quantity, actually dwarfing the number of Cyclops that are here. And the Vultures are earmarked for 6 o'clock. It's a good idea, but it's just a few moments late to deny the ministry landing, and it's a few moments early to actually pick Masons or anything like that. So the rally will be set over there, and it doesn't look like Shambler is going to abate his attack, at least not yet. A lot of mines in the center. I actually really like the Shopkeeper Dog Vulture push, you know, like sort of reinvesting into that, and his little phalanx spot up here is nice for softening up the mech army. Remember, we called out no healing already. With a lot of Vespene and for little gain. But the Ant Seals are not in a good protective spot. Another one has been stunned by those lobotomy mines that were mentioned moments ago. More Vultures are here. Could lay some mines right in the face of this. One Eidolon going down so far, but that seems to be the limit of what Shambler's capacity is. He killed a Blackjack as well. I won't completely lie to you guys, but more mine hits, nothing really of consequence. He can come in here. Look at the Masons that are just sitting here doing nothing. Some gas disruption here as the Vultures are committed to the attack. Execute the workers by any means necessary. Shopkeeper Dog just trying to fight back. And you know what? Look at the worker count. Now within touching distance, he only is down by 3, and he's about to make it a tie worker game because Shambler is not actively producing Masons. Wow! He's fought all the way back. Now, the worker count doesn't necessarily tell the whole story, and I was starting to say that earlier before one of the pushes continued to evolve into something of a longer, more drawn-out skirmish, but Shopdog has continued to hit the buttons and press all the buttons he really needs to. Now, he will be foiled in taking his 4th, and there is a bit of a scary push of pure Matador aimed at his ministry, where only a bunch of Eidolons and Blackjacks are. So let's see how much damage he can get done, because he should be able to shut down this third base. They're basically going to trade third bases here. Maybe some of the military units for Shopdog on the rally can help to clear that, but the ministry is being right-clicked here, essentially. This is going to be a quick disruption there. To me, I feel like the ministry was salvageable, but he didn't want to bother lifting it. He didn't have the wherewithal right now. Valkyries are slowly chipping away at the Ant Seals on the rally. Phalanxes are... There's only 5 of them. This should be a doable fight for Shambler, but he needs to take it very wisely, and he needs to make sure that his Matadors are aiming at the right targets. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. The Blackjacks for Shopkeeper Dog are a bit stuck trying to get rid of those Ant Seals. Finally, they've synced their weaponry into all of those Goliaths, and really the moneymakers were those Phalanx that were kept alive the entire time. Eidolons providing consistent damage, sure. The Valkyries are dead, so breaking through all of these Ant Seals is going to be a bit of a difficult story. Maybe the Phalanxes can help us out. And no more front line. This is a very, very backline heavy army right here for Shopkeeper Dog. He's sending some more units down. Has he even dealt with those Matadors? The answer is no. He hasn't landed his third base. Shopkeeper Dog is in an all-in position, and his army is taking this fight sort of out of sync with itself. Now we have the Eidolons being engaged. A rally of Goliaths are going to be a really, really difficult thing for Shopdog to clear. His reinforcements now coming in, the slower guys, the Phalanxes, the ones that matter more than anything else. The whole eastern flank is cleared. And another rally of Shambler units. This one should be a little bit easier to deal with, but down go most of the Eidolons. Valkyries of Shambler's own are presented, but I don't think they're going to get very far. Now besieging the production. This is kind of where the decentralized production can help. Oh, it looks like some units were stuck there, so Shambler jockeying back. He's got a treasury he can reset, and Shopdog is deciding to abandon this push for the purpose of killing the Matadors, pushing them away. They were deployed. One of them will go down. Oh yeah, catching them on the other side as well. Just putting some more damage to him. Nothing too crazy. Taking stock of what we have. Again, Shopdog isn't that far behind Shambler in terms of the economy game, you know, worker count-wise. The big problem here is he doesn't have a mining third base. He's going to try to fix that. And this whole time, Shambler's been sitting pretty after losing the low ground. Double gas base. Are either of them going to be going tier 2? The answer right now seems to be no. It's a tier 1 bonanza, and we're just about at 18 minutes. Eidolons are not really what you want to be on the front line, but at least it's a very obvious audio cue that you're about to take some damage. Got 2 Valkyries here. They're going to really heavily range down all of those Ant Seals that flew right into the sun, courtesy of the Cyclops shells. Look at that. The Valks now, for Shopdog, just absorbing all of the Cyclops attacks and creating those damage fields that Shambler has to watch out for. He just lost like 8 Ant Seals. That was such an expensive loss. But this is going to be pricey too, Shopkeeper. You're losing all your Eidolons, buddy. Don't mess with the Cyclops on the range. A treasury earmarked for 12. Still has to clear out all of those Matadors, though. And Shambler just producing Cyclops by the tens. What an outrageous slugfest this game has turned into. happier days for Shopkeeper before he got run down by mass Cyclops. And he is escorting his treasury, so there is that. It was also landed at the double gas base over here. Shambler going to send some of his workers over. Oh, he actually abandoned it. He didn't finish clearing the Matadors. I thought maybe there was only one there. Clearly not the case. Only one of them will be remaining. And as it gets pulled by the treasury, it will be destroyed. We got to move out for Shambler. It's so many Cyclops. The man's got mostly just Cyclops, guys. 68 military units. I bet you 60 of them are Cyclops. But phalanxes with some kind of front line, very difficult to deal with. So he's going to wrap around, see if he can't just stab out that top base. A lot of idle masons. Going to first saturate those gases and then go back to the minerals. Maybe see if he can take 9 o'clock. Needs to clear it of the small band of mech units that are over there. This treasury could just get absolutely nuked. You got to watch out for that because the HP is so low on it. Looks like Shambler wants to commit to it, but he will lose the Cyclops in the process. Another flyby Valkyrie just there to absorb the shots, and a humongous amount of phalanx. The first salvo is the most painful sometimes. And that will range Shambler back. A lot of dead masons on Shopkeeper's side, and he's down by 40 workers. Looking still good economically for Shambler, who's taken another base at 3 o'clock. Obviously another treasury, though, so worker scaling will be a little bit limited. He's pulled some of the workers in his main and nap because they are depleted. That is the situation we find ourselves in, guys. We're at 20 minutes. And a big Cyclops push earmarked for this third base on the low ground. He's got 1 sieged phalanx. I don't think that's going to hold back. Let's just go ahead and count them. 25 Cyclops. All right, 3 phalanx can probably do it, though. The Masons... Oh, that hurt my soul. My God. All right, well, another push coming in. Seeing what he can do. Shopkeeper is not going to make the same mistake he did against Nevlime on this very map in Battlements. He is going to dive head first into battle. Huracan, Cyclops, Eidolon, Phalanx. That's what he's got right now. His Matador count is nothing. 0. Nada. Zilch. But his phalanxes are so numerous. The Eidolons are all balled up. They're being significantly reduced by the Cyclops, but doesn't even matter when there's this many phalanx. Here comes the Cyclops, fresh from clearing at 12 o'clock. The Ministry is destroyed. Shopkeeper not managing the fight on multiple fronts. Here come a lot more Cyclops. A couple of Masons pulled. I'm not sure why, but we'll take them. Maybe absorb some of those shots. It doesn't quite work out. And here comes the top flank. There were 3 phalanxes kind of off to the other side, and Anseal died due to the friendly splash. And it feels like, hold on, maybe there's a chance for Shopkeeper. He's trying to build the treasury. It's interrupted. 1 more Matador. And now it comes down the attack at 6. Remember, Shambler has 2 other bases mining right now. So even as this one is destroyed, held at the pass by 1 Huracan, by the way, there's still plenty of income for our White Terran. Oh, that's really critical. He needed all of his phalanxes, I feel like, and he definitely wants to spread them out. The Cyclops are going to get some shots off here and there, so if you can afford to do it that way, that's better. Oh, a bunch of Valkyries. They could have been great for flybys. They went after the Anseals. A little bit of friendly splash makes it a bit easier for the phalanxes to do their job. There's so many decentralized production structures for Shambler that the rallies are kind of screwing with the phalanx push. Here we go. Reinforcements. This might be one of the last times Shopkeeper can do so. 4 Eidolons, 4 Cyclops in production. He's trying his best. Let's see if he can do it, guys. This feels like it might be the last chance he's got. Nothing mining at all for Shopkeeper. 1 Fulcrum still here, producing units pretty non-stop because of those extra bases mining. Nothing shut down the double gas base just yet. And Shopkeeper has to make a decision. Does he try to break the natural and kill all the production inside the main base, end the game that way? Or does he go after those extra bases and shut it off so that maybe the game goes on a little bit longer? His scrapyard's been destroyed. Shambler cannot produce any more Matadors. It's just going to be Cyclops from here on out. His Atlas halfway complete. I don't think he really cares too much about the lack of Matadors, to be honest with you, though it is a pretty good boon. The anti-armor. Here come more Phalanx. Some of them have been destroyed, driven back by the Cyclops menace. Man, every little bit of unit taking some of the Phalanx force and denying the splash damage that we have seen in this game. Oh, I'm on pins and needles. What can we even see from this? There's so many Anseals, but they're not really protecting the right units, it feels like. Blackjacks are all that's left down here in the bottom. Shopkeeper Dog has 2 Phalanxes and 4 Eidolons, and the count is potentially going to drop here very soon. Last couple of Cyclops remaining. More where that came from. 10 a pop. Shambler is still producing an outrageous number. His third base has not been denied. His fourth, sure, at 6, but the one at 3 o'clock is thrumming just fine. 89 workers. And we haven't really properly set up an extra base. This is not going to work. Shopkeeper will be driven back. His resources are almost non-existent. His reinforcements have slowed to a crawl. There is no floodgate to open. There is no further bit of water he can drink from. He is now lost in the desert. And Shambler was promised this win 3,000 years ago or something. That's probably what he would say. Double mantle. That's always satisfying. As of right now, Shambler is decidedly in the lead. If he can draw upon his internal killer instinct and move across the map, he basically seals the deal. He's currently going to be waiting a little bit. This one Cyclops getting a lot of value, by the way. Oh, shit! Killed from beyond the grave. Not that it matters. It's one worker. It's just, it's the moral thing. Extra mantles. Durandal's coming. Dude, what a game. Absurd. Yeah, Durandal's would be pretty good here as well. I mean, it just feels like you look at what he's got for an army, and he could probably just go ahead and A-move. But he respects how cost-efficient phalanxes can be, and he has been lackadaisical in the scouting, so he doesn't necessarily know how low the count is for Shopkeeper. Lifting the natural ministry. He lifted his main ministry! I've never seen somebody do that in Cosmonarchy before. Trojan with 8 Eidolons. Please do not lose all your 8 Eidolons. Oh my goodness. Oh no! Oh, Shopkeeper, you lost your phalanx! That was like your only way to survive here at this point. He's got some Cyclops off to the side. Those are cleaned up easy. Oh, God. Oh, everything's going wrong. We've got Eidolons. We've got some Phalanx. Is he just going to go for one last-ditch attack, one last-ditch time? Because it's been a few last-ditch attacks already. Hanging on by a thread. And now we've got Tier 2 units out. There's the Durandal. You guys better be up to snuff on this. The Durandal now shoots a missile only at air units with its secondary attack. It used to be a rifle instead of a... like a turret rifle instead of a missile launcher. Sentinel's coming up, revealing Tier 2 as well. That missile, the rocket that it shoots out, does apply a polyoid adhesive as well. So rending the armor of the Ministry, it was dead to rights anyway. And so too is this force. There is absolutely no way Shopkeeper can fight his way out of this situation. I like the Valkyrie inclusion still to the bitter end. It clearly proved itself useful. And actually, his units are going to stay alive here a little bit. That's a bit of a surprise. I was ready to call the game for Shambler right then and there. And I still think Shambler's going to win this. He's making 4 cataphracts. I mean, the armor platforms are just impossible for Tier 1 units to deal with at this scale that Shopkeeper has. He's reduced to building Cyprians. Ah, dear. Although, you know, thinking about it, if he ever got to Tier 2, a Tensender full of Eidolons would go really hard. It would be scary as hell. The last of his Masons are going to be eliminated. 16, and the count is still maybe going to fall just a wee bit. There can be no further pressure applied by Shopkeeper Dog other than the pressure of his finger on the G key. He's staying in the game with 17 Masons, man. I don't know. I used to, if you swap the nameplates, I'd be like, oh, I'm surprised Shambler went Eidolon. But you know what? I can understand he's still not going to type GG. He's just going to leave. No, Shambler's winning. Guys, Shambler is moments away, it feels like, for this whole game from winning. I guess he just needs to break Dog's spirit first. Biddy B in the chat, maybe 2026 will be the year of the Shambler. Maybe. This could be his year. I mean, he's going to win a game versus Shopkeeper Dog. Hats off, props. I still have Shopkeeper taking the series, but the Eidolon experiment has run up against the Cyclops spam. A more expensive, more absurd Maverick to spam in this matchup. Savants have been made. I've seen it all. Shopkeeper actually made Savants. Unbelievable. Unfortunately, there's too many cataphracts out, and he did shut down the 3 o'clock, but in that time, 6 o'clock's been reset, the double gas base has been reset, everything is being cracked open. GG. Shambler, after about 30 minutes, has claimed victory over Shopkeeper Dog. I mean, listen, technically this has happened before. This has happened before, but not in that way. That was a slugfest of a game 1. Game 2 of Shambler taking on Shopkeeper. This is going to be an interesting match because game 1 was already a half an hour, and there's Crisis Vector match. You know, maybe in principle that game was still going on around the 20-minute mark or so. We had that last desperate push from Shopkeeper that made it all the way to the natural choke. But at that point, it was basically over. The rest of it was just a little bit of extra padding for more YouTube revenue. Thanks, Shopkeeper. I appreciate it. Felixander in the chat. Cosmonarchy Tuesday. Yeah, buddy. Let's go. We will have a Cosmonarchy Wednesday stream, but it will be for the donors. So if you're not a donor already, you can go to our coffee page and pledge monthly. $3 a month or more gets you access. So pretty low entry cost, and you get a lot of streams. At least 2 a week. Good opportunity there. Fulcrums, of course, for both players. Shopkeeper in the bottom right is going to be our Cordovan? No, Tyrian Purple this time around. Tyrian Purple Terran. Shambler up here is the white Terran once again. Staying consistent with the colors. Battle Spectre is our map. This is a forced cross-spawn map. You are always cross-spawn, guys. Always. I'll get the veto pulled up here for you guys. It was Mass Destruction vetoed by Dog. Potadia vetoed by Shambler. He doesn't like how the pathing in the middle works out. And then what do we have here? Okay, so Acid Test will be game 3. Assuming Shambler does not 3-0, and I feel like that would be pretty hard for Shambler to do. Punch Drunk is up as game 4, map 4. And then if we need a decider, which would be absolutely thrilling, it will be Knife's Edge, selected by Shopkeeper Dog. Punch Drunk is Shambler's second pick. The other bans were Paradise by Dog, Frosted Forest by Shambler. I actually don't know why Shambler would veto Frosted Forest. But it is a map that he probably just hasn't played that much, is my speculation. I don't think I've ever seen him play it. I'm sure he has, but I just don't think I've ever seen it. A Donner stream. I ain't Turkish. But shout out to the kebabs. You know, from what I've heard, kebabs are not great for you, but pretty damn delicious. Like an elevated fast food. And I mean no disrespect by that. But you know, not great in the way that fast food isn't great, but even more delicious than the way fast food is. There you go. Now the Turks can't possibly get upset at me. We have Cyclops coming after the Vultures. We have Shopkeeper Dog sticking to Vultures alone. And I like his mind coverage. Does he have perfect vision? Not quite. It's pretty hard to get down here. And he's going to go for that pretty fast expansion. Oh, yeah, something I didn't really comment on. Shambler expanded faster than Shopkeeper. So that was something that happened in that first game. It will not be this time around, but they're close enough. It's not the end of the world. So, you know, they're both going to be a bit more on the passive side with their builds. I love Shopkeeper's Mason still sticking around over here. What he wants to do is, you know, look for any drops that might come in, any sort of weird, windy path that the units take, that kind of thing. So it's a good thing to have nearby. And I think the age of the Watchdog Scout is over, but maybe somebody will bring it back. I can see a world where it's helpful. But when you're building a lot of Cyclops, it's not that helpful. Although it could be, A, if Talos ever comes back, you float the Watchdog Scout in and land it and kill workers. B, if you are building Cyclops, just float it over the mineral line. What are they going to do? Build their own Watchdog, I guess. Oh, Shopkeeper lifted his fulcrum. I wonder why. I wonder what he's planning. It'll be a stockade. I'm holding my breath. If it's one stockade, it's Vestry. If it's two stockade, it's Eidolon. We saw how it worked out in the last game. Ministry's finished for both players. We are going to see Shambler add a third fulcrum in the process. Actually, it is for a very long time here. Nothing more coming. I do like that the Vultures are holding out for a drop for the most part. He obviously has some units at the front, but he had his 4 Vultures out here for a while in case there was going to be some kind of early drop. And as Mason comes back in after not scouting much, it will be jumped upon after popping one of the mines, but reveals the complexion of Shambler's army, which is a whole buttload of Cyclops. So with that being the situation, the star pad on the way for our Shamblerino. Oh, well, double stockade, triple stockade. Slightly different progression to the build, but yeah, Covenant coming. So we will be seeing Eidolons after all. Shopkeeper has confirmed that it's a bunch of Cyclops and still wants to give it a go. And I guess I have to echo what Shambler said in Game 1 when he scouted the Eidolons. Honestly, respect. I think the Eidolons played a really big part, or the Cyclops played a really big part in why the Eidolons didn't work. If you think about how they typically clump up because they're short, small units, the Eidolons didn't have much of a chance at avoiding, you know, all of the splash damage. You needed to manually sort of split them up, and, well, you don't really want to be moving them around a lot in the middle of combat, precisely because if you have to constantly move them around, they have that attack wind up, and then they can't get their DPS to where it needs to be. Whereas if they are just sitting there shooting for a while, they're good. They don't need to worry about it. So, seems pretty good there in theory at the very least. And a ministry for game, or base number 3 is up for Shopkeeper. I like Cyclops concave outside, if you will, if you can call that a concave, that big line out there. Good way to just collapse upon anything coming in this way, and it gives you an advance warning of something coming in from the south, so not too terrible. Shambler's Vulture protecting the likely third base. We'll call it 4 o'clock there. Something that I feel like players are going to be able to have more wherewithal to do. Oh, Cyprians. Instead of Eidolons. He made the Covenant, and then he makes Cyprians. That's interesting. I guess maybe he's thinking that does a little bit better than the Cyclops. Or than the Eidolons against the Cyclops. They have a little bit of splash, right? Just a different flavor of splash, obviously. In that case, it kind of backfired. The Cyprians broke the shields of the Antseal, and then the Antseal did the Valkyrie magnetism move, where it just takes all of the Cyclops shells, smashes them. So far, Shopkeeper's army is looking a little bit worse for wear. This is where the splash damage can start to turn its tail, though. Vultures are sort of absorbing it as a bit of a front line. Oh, here's some Matadors. Matadors will definitely make this a lot harder for Shambler to make things happen. Could have maybe snapped that last one on the way with the hit scan attack. In fact, that's exactly what he's trying to do here, is saunter forward. I guess I can see the vision of the Cyclops, or sorry, the Cyprians, if you have Matador coverage. Like, Cyprian Matador could probably annihilate Cyclops. But will Shopkeeper do that when he invested the Covenant gas? That's what I'm kind of confused by. He went Covenant gas, then he goes Cyprians, then he goes, you know, Matadors behind it, which makes sense, and now he's going Eidolon. I guess he wants just another layer of ranged unit in between the enemy army and his Eidolon, so he's putting the Cyprians in. Looks like he wants to go for 6 o'clock as his third base. We've got a pretty big march happening over here from Shambler. And, of course, the ministry for base number 3 is on the way. Palladium has begun for Shopkeeper. Shopkeeper in the chat says this looks familiar. Yeah, yeah, it sure does. Well, the misdirection has been successful. Shambler is going to come right in to the natural. And what can Shopkeeper do about this? He bit the entire army on that push. Some Hurricanes up on the high ground will help out a little bit. Blackjacks and Eidolons are very far from completion right this moment. Masons are being killed. And so are Cyclops, though. Shambler is not able to get a human. Oh, never mind. Oh, good grief. That's a lot of death. 20 worker lead all of a sudden for Shambler. His opponent is the one in shambles. And these Cyclops raids and walk-ins, in this case, getting so much value, so much more than you would anticipate. But base number 4 is already here for Shopkeeper. He is going to lift it over and have to clear out everything at 4 o'clock. And that's just going to offer more targets for Shambler, who's adding more Fulcrums, Deceive in the natural. He's got one in the main, floating base 3 up to 12. Anseal's returning home. I don't know. I can't really see this being super beneficial for Shopkeeper. Five Folk, 3 Stockade. So he's got good production. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's got superior, no, about even production. That's going to change up pretty soon. When you factor in the Stockade count, he's got superior production for sure. And he's got superior tech in both the Covenant and the Palladium. So that is a big component here. Shambler so far hasn't made a single Phalanx. Or even a Palladium, thinking about it. Going to add some Fulcrums over to his third base. I do think that Terran it's a little bit harder to do with than Protoss, but Shambler is kind of the guy who presented to us the prospect of building production as a way to make walls, just to confuse units and slow them down in raids and stuff. I do think more players need to be doing that. I think that's a really, really good move. I've seen Nablime obviously adopt that, but I don't know if I've seen any other Terran players do that recently. There was a period of time when Hepsea was still competing, where for a while he was in the StarCraft 2 brain of the walls need to be airtight. But the way that the pathing works in this game, walls just need to be there a little bit, and it's already pretty effective. It's way different than not having any walls. 4 o'clock is likely going to be attacked here because Shambler's front gates are under duress. This Phalanx-based push can be pretty effective, but he's only got 2 Phalanx with him, and he doesn't have any more coming across. Shopkeeper's decided to go with the immediate Phalanx timing, hoping that maybe this will allow him to get a lot of value against the Cyclops, but this is a full arc. This is a humongous arc, dude. This is like an almost a 180-degree surround. Matadors are providing a ton of value there, and the Phalanxes are doing some heavy lifting, but unfortunately for Shopkeeper, I mean, that might have been his best chance to get significant damage, and it just falls flat. There's so many more Cyclops, and he didn't have enough Phalanx. I think even if he has 4 Phalanx there, it might not quite work, but one whole extra production cycle, maybe. But then he misses his chance, so window is tight. Shopkeeper is going to have to evacuate 4 o'clock. There's no way he can save that here. And he already kind of sees it as soon as the Ant Seals pop in. He knows what's up. Hopefully he pulls all the Masons back before they die. Oh no, 6 o'clock is completely empty though. He's got 8 Cyclops coming in for that. That's more than enough to just kill every Mason there. Speaking of. 4 Phalanx in production for Shopkeeper. That's what he's staking his claim on. This base is under duress. We got another a treasury and another ministry coming for Shambler, which is interesting. He's adding an anchor to 4 o'clock. I was looking around for where the anchor was being made. A lot of Cyclops being made for Shambler, that's for sure. No surprises there after game 1. He is able to take the initiative a lot more, but I feel like Phalanx can turn this around. Will they, though? Oh, rallied Hyrokans. Surprisingly effective at killing Cyclops. I don't know if the Ministry can actually escape. I think it's dead. Oh, not quite. It wasn't being microed. Shambler was busy elsewhere. That makes sense. Oh no. Oh dear. Okay, thank God. Thank God. Shopkeeper loses that base. It might be over already. He's still rallying Masons in here. We can't accurately check the kill count here, but maybe he'll fix that. Has he fixed that? I guess he has. There you go. This guy's going all the way to bottom left. So they are kind of expanding in the same positions as each other now, with the treasury setting up in top right. Does set you up for a pretty easy way to take another main, or another natural. This Phalanx spread is impossible for Cyclops, though. Probably need to drop a bunch of Phalanxes further up. But how many can you make? Tier 2 is coming for Shopkeeper. Shambler trying another angle of attack. The Hyrokans are definitely going to stop this from being super effective. Oh no, Masons were being transferred. Now they're just trying to body block and absorb some of the friendly splash. Unbelievable scenes. as all of the Cyclops are dead. Well, not all of them. Not all of them, ladies and gentlemen. There are a few more here. Tier 2 for both players at about the same time. Always nice when that ends up happening. A true mirror, clearly. No different tactics between the players, I swear. Almost 100 workers for Shambler. That is almost double what Shopkeeper has. But they are producing the same quantity per rotation now, so Shopkeeper's caught up in that regard. Worker production quantity. There it is, tier 2. Tech du jour for Shopkeeper is a starport. I don't exactly know what he plans to do, but I guess I don't know. Versus all the Cyclops, I can't really think of an air unit that would be really good. Maybe the Seraph, if you can keep it safe. You can just drop irradiates and they become even more brittle. Cyclops pushing into the bottom left. Battle workers! Well, you've only angered the swarm. The nanobots are moving out. Oh, there's some phalanx coming in rotation. That alone won't save this, but it might stall it out long enough for more reinforcements to come. We got Gorgons, 3 starports. Captaincy's been made, but nothing being added to it just yet. Ah, jeez. Yeah, the vulture count starting to come in here. It gives Shambler a little bit more map control. Ministry is escaping at the very least, but oh, Tinker's Tower. Okay. Is this that human resource, that threatening, flirting versus harassment thing? Like Fulcrum over here, all good. Captaincy with Tinker's Tower, human resources. Nebulime needs to make that meme. Because, like, this does not look good to me. This looks spooky. You lose the Tinker's Tower, wherever your other captaincies are, they're going to be a lot worse. It is a lot of Gorgons being made. I just feel like the Cyclops count is going to make that very moot. I guess maybe one unit that would be sleeper good versus Cyclops spam would be the Wyvern. You make a lot of those guys, and then you just kind of fly into the Cyclops, but also past them. And in the process, you're just doing all that passive damage while you're moving forward. That could be pretty cool. And if you're going to make an add-on, I think Salamanders would be epic, but not very cost-efficient. They're a pretty expensive unit. I was just thinking about, like, laying out all the damage over time, and then, you know, the phalanxes clean up the rest. But it's probably easier to build something a little bit less high maintenance in terms of APM cost. Like, what Shambler's doing is just making Cataphract. Durandal's Cataphracts, more mantles. He's got great economy, set up 5 bases. His 6th is here. And he's contained Shopkeeper to 3. Making a bunch of extra captaincies. Sieging forward, he's going to try to break this anchor. Let's see how long range the Cyclops inside the anchor are. It is always satisfying to me when I see a lot of phalanx frags. Oh, speaking of, I don't think this attack is going to go very well for Shambler, but let's find out. He's got a lot of Cyclops committed to the push. We have more phalanxes where that came from. Some of them aren't in siege mode, which might actually be a blessing in disguise, just because they're going to have way more armor. They're going to tank up way more of those shots. They're going to clean up some of the units that the other main ones can't. But the worker rate is legit. The worker rate is a lot of extra workers going down here. And Shambler already had double his worker count anyway. We're pretty close to it. Now he's confirmed that. But down goes most of the army, though. The ground army completely wiped. These kinds of trades, even if they aren't necessarily cost efficient, they're still pretty good. And this containment, or whatever this is, this little outpost that was made, it's gone so deep and taken so long to get rid of that it's really a challenge. It's a huge challenge for Shopkeeper to push through that in any timely manner. Because he needs to be cost efficient. Forget about it. He's fighting uphill just to get back to a point where he has half the workers of Shambler. Gorgon count is pretty low right now. He's got a lot of phalanxes. Shopkeeper should be able to insulate himself versus this kind of attack. Make it a little bit more awkward to actually path through here. I feel like he needs way more Strigas, and he needs to be able to like kind of hold this position. I don't know if Sentinels would be that good, because now we're going to start to see Durandals filtered in, but something to make it so that Shambler can't just rock up here, you know? The splattering is real. The Durandals are connecting onto a few, but I don't know if it's going to be quite enough. The Mason repairs are funny and very thematic. Now the Tinker's Tower is isolated. It's not providing its bonus since the captaincy isn't here, so we have no extra ability to train Sirens or Strigas. And it's just going to straight up go down as well, so that makes it even worse. The Cataphracts are pretty low in terms of HP, but the Phalanx count has been managed a little bit. Oh no, all the Ant Seals are protecting the 14 HP Cata. No! Kill the Cata! It's it won't die! Oh wait, it'll die now. Oh my god. I think Shambler's getting ready to finish this one off pretty quickly, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of lobotomy mines all over the place, covering for any sort of push that Shopkeeper might try to do, and I don't even think he can do any push. He's lost his third base, still hasn't set up anything at 4 o'clock this entire time. Durandals are rending armor on the Gorgons, not that it matters too much, but an even added punishment there. And we've got some deployments all over the place. We've got other units on the rally, which are being, you know, currently heckling some of these Ant Seals, but GG is called as the Ministry float was unable to do a thing. All those phalanxes getting nuked in the middle of the map, and Shambler just posted dub number 2. Dude, from going down 0-2 against Grass Eater to now seeing him lead, and maybe all my talk about like, yeah, we won't have to worry about like, oh, ending on Acid Test. Dude, Acid Test could be our final map. That could be where this series ends. Here we go, lads. The Shambler, the White Terran in the top right of Acid Test. Shopkeeper Dog in the bottom right. He is our, Dark Sapphire. Dark Sapphire Terran. Love it, love it. And in this TvT, we are going to see Fulcrum again because we can see the Vespian is ticking up. So I want to take this opportunity as we wait for those Fulcrums to be put down to remind you guys that the Biddy Birthday Bash is still looking for entrants. You can check our tournaments channel on the Discord server. We are also raising money for a very exciting show match. Show match number 7, it will feature Zeke and Han Mono as our Zerg and our Terran. Our Protoss is yet to lock in. I reached out to Sir DeWalt. If he accepts, then that will be epic. If not, I will extend the invitation, I think maybe to Bonneth. Oya is too good for this kind of show match. Zeke is really good too. I expect him to play really well. But he was also the first pro to accept, so it made sense to also have him be the last pro invite of 2025. Oya, honestly, Oya could be fine as a person to invite. But I know he's been busy with BSL lately, so I wasn't sure if he would be game. And I wanted to see DeWalt again one more time. But if Bonneth is the man instead, or Oya is the man instead, then I'm happy with that too. So if you can donate to those show match fundings by going to streamlabs.com/pronago, putting in the money there. Always appreciate the tip. We also have YouTube membership and super chat enabled now. I don't know if anybody cares about that. I figured I would enable it just because I had to enable some stuff to see if I could sell the Cosmonarchy merch through the YouTube channel. And then it turns out that that integration doesn't work anymore or is under reconstruction or something. So that was a waste. But at least we have super chats now. XD. So you can do that if you want. But yeah, right now we're still raising that money for the show match. So that is probably priority funding there. You had to pick. Plus you get funny donation alerts and stuff. I added a bunch of extra stuff now. Let's see if I can demonstrate when we get that next. I see we got Jujic in the chat. Arbiz was in there earlier. Got Space. You guys are doing well. What is the DH and GLDH? Don't hash, as in don't desync. That's Shambler's the only one who types that. Although I think maybe there was a period of time where Nebline was also typing it, but I think... Or maybe not. Maybe I'm misremembering. Shopkeeper is going to go for the faster expansion. That's the second game in a row now that he's done that. And, yeah, we're just waiting to see if his stockades come out again. Because Shambler, of course, is just going to be doing the same thing. It's been serving him well. His expansion will be coming up pretty soon. Should just be like a one-worker difference at the end of the day, but we'll see, because Shopkeeper is usually a little bit faster, a little bit better at making workers in general. I say that Shambler is slightly ahead of him in that moment, but he's catching up. Third Fulcrum for Shopkeeper Dog. I don't think we've seen Third Fulcrum before the Stockade. We'll have to evaluate that as time goes on. Shopkeeper is no stranger to best of fives. Cute little watchdog here to watch for, I guess, any dogs, like Shopkeeper Dog. Eh. But I don't think Shopkeeper's going to be dropping it. Now, if you replaced him with Newt for a game, yeah, there would be drops. Newt loves drops. Fulcrum number 3 for Shambler. We've seen plenty of third Fulcrum for him. Everything he's doing is a little bit behind what Shopkeeper is doing, which is kind of interesting. Getting that worker production pretty steady now. This USA v USA matchup. Actually, I think all of our semifinals are USA v USA. That's going to look cool on Liquipedia. We have Dog Lived and Newt on the other side of the bracket, and then we have Shambler and Shopkeeper Dog here. Pretty cool. That's going to be an America's tournament. You understand? I think we see what Shopkeeper Dog is doing. The Palladium tells me he's going to be going for a lot of phalanxes a little bit earlier into the game. And if you think about his push with the 2 phalanxes on Battle Spectre just moments ago, that does make some sense, right? He gets the phalanxes out sooner. If he wants Eidolon, he can do it later. He's going for a star pad, though, pretty early on, and it's not for Valkyries. We know that much, so... This could actually turn into a drop, or it could just be Anseals for, you know, clearing the mines and all that stuff. But Shambler's not really making a lot of mines. He's standing there in an arc. Double Watchdog. Mines, anti-drop mines. I like that. And his own star pad number 2. Dude, Shambler's building his base like an AI would. What the hell is going on here? He's got 2 Fulcrums off the side. He's got this guy over here. Build a star pad out here. Oh, yeah, my second one should be here. All right, buddy. I don't know what's going on. You know, they say that about Snow in Starcraft 1. That is, he's called the Vanilla Bot. Not even the Brood War AI, the Starcraft 1 original AI. That's how he builds the structures, apparently. Big Cyclops mass coming out here with just a few vultures. One of them did go down earlier to Shopkeeper's units, who are now kind of committed into this position. Yeah, it's a lot of firing to have to deal with. One vulture will narrowly escape, and of course the Anseal can provide detection for the lobotomy mine. Valkyries are actually coming out for Shopkeepers, so he's still sticking to that idea of the anti-Anseal meta. There's that immortal message from Shopkeeper one time where he said, I'm anti-Anseal and anti-Shaman. Meanwhile, Anseals are really good. Shamans, really good. People are talking about nerfing them because they're too good. It's the way it goes. Double sieve for Shopkeeper. He really wants to be scaling up his Vespene production, it looks like. I guess he's just going to go tier 2 here then, huh? Scrapyard on the way. That's no Vespene cost, so no worries there. Might be adding some Matadors in the process. Yeah, his Phalanxes are definitely going to be a point of strength. He's got 7 of them. Base number 3 on the way for Shambler. All the Cyclops on the high ground. He's got everything down here. Oh, I gotta say, Shambler's playing pretty well, honestly. Like, I've been focusing a little bit on the fact that Shopkeeper's been losing the games, right? But I don't think you can really throw too many, you know... You can't... There's always things to improve. You can't throw some critique. But I feel like the broad tendencies of map control and stuff, Shambler has just been better in that way. Well, the Phalanxes are unsieging just as the Cyclops take a poke in, so... That works out a little bit luckily for Shambler. He's got Vulture watching him in the bottom left. Everything taken care of at 4 o'clock. The double Watchdog is pretty cute. Might be a little bit too much of an investment. Big stun there, but not pounced upon. Now it will be. All the Valkyries are stacked up against each other. Oh, boy. Yeah, very brittle now. He's going to try to interrupt reinforcements, maybe see if he can perform a surround, but it is not working out the way that he thought it would, because the Phalanxes are still over here, and they'll splatter everything from the north, while meanwhile, Shambler's just in the Cyclops knife fight right now. So the whole rest of the army has pivoted up to the mid-left. Meanwhile, Shopkeeper Dog's trading his military while producing a tier 2 structure and going for the captaincy tech up. So he has this ministry landed, but he can't really use it right now. He is going to go ahead and airlift it there, and Shambler probably didn't even notice it until just now. Yeah, it looks like it. All right, 2 o'clock will be the third base of the Shambler. This map is really hard to secure a third base on. But I would say 2 and 4 are probably the easiest ones to do so with. Only trouble is you can't really leapfrog into any other base. Like, are you really going to try to take this base on the low ground? Are you kidding me? I don't think so. Although, if this was an island, if this was like a high ground island or something, that would probably make this base a lot easier to take. So you'd have like a guaranteed safe base. I might try that as a refresh to this map at some point, but that'll be later. Phalanxes are going to be able to splatter a lot of these Cyclops. And even though some of them will die in the process, it's looking like this should be just fine for Shopkeeper. He's got a bunch more off to the back. Oh, some pretty good kills, though. And now trying to maybe chase the Ant Seals a little bit. That's a cute move. Vulture's off to the side, slowing down reinforcements and definitely making Shopkeeper Dog aware of it. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of Phalanxes sort of spread out in the middle of the map. But that just makes it really hard for Shambler to do any pushes. Still don't have anything going on at 2 o'clock, though. Shambler's got a huge bank. Shopkeeper adding a mantle. More Valks. Did he end up losing all those Valks? I wasn't really... Oh, no. Well, now he does. Yeah. Ah! It's safe. It's fine. Everything's okay. 2 o'clock still hasn't even been looked at by Shopkeeper, let alone actually cleared. Or rather, I should say 4 o'clock. 2 o'clock is obviously Shambler's third base. His Ant Seals are still okay, but kind of wounded. Tier 2 is now beginning for our Shambler. I don't think he knows. He hasn't seen any Tier 2 tech or structures or anything like that, so that makes some sense there. Oh boy. Well, the Phalanxes are called upon to do some heavy lifting again. And this is a lot of Cyclops for them to have to clear. We are going to need to see some of those Phalanxes pulled over from the middle. Ant Seals are destroyed, though. The one Valkyrie proving quite effective. Now the Masons are trying to bite. Yeah, that's exactly what I expected to happen there. The Mason count will still be reduced in the procedure of all of this during the proceedings, but one Mason scouts up the upper left, so 11 o'clock has been revealed to be Shambler's 4th base. Although, I think Shopkeeper might still not be aware of this one. But he's got the faster tier 2. He can kind of upend the economy part of it. Phalanxes outtrade a lot of stuff on the ground. Shambler doesn't have enough economy to balance that out, let alone the fact that tier 2 is being leveraged. Like, his tier 2 is done, but Shopkeeper Dog has already built all of his tier 2 infrastructure and started out on producing tier 2 units. When you see Strigas, you know, dude, my guys had tier 2 for at least 2 minutes, you know? So that's definitely got to scare Shambler a little bit here. Good looking game for Shopkeeper in the process, adding more Phalanx and Cataphracts as he pushes his way into the northern hemisphere. All of those Cyclops being splattered. I like the little outstripping, you know, have an outcrop of units up there with the Vultures and Strigas in the process, and the Cataphracts are just such good consistent damage dealers versus squishy targets like all this. They even go ahead and combine with the Strigas to clear all those ant seals in an explosion, and there's all of a sudden really nothing left here for Shambler. His mantles are finishing up back at home, but the Catas and the Phalanx will take care of this stuff on the high ground pretty easily. We only have more Cyclops producing right now. The mantles are done but not making anything. Vultures are being made now. He knows he needs to try to run directly into the Phalanx and maybe get some stuns off. Down goes one of the Fulcrums. These guys were probably on hold position for a bit. The lifted Fulcrum is a good idea, but it dies to the Catus anyway. Some Cyclops are going to come down here to harass 6 o'clock. It's not a bad idea. There's not so many reinforcements, but even those Strigas would take care of it, and this Ministry is gone. We are going to see a... Oh, yeah. Well, say goodbye to that base. So even though, you know, okay, Shopkeeper is only mining off of his main and his natural. Yeah, same for Shambler in a moment here. His Durandals are out. I mean, if he can break out, he can try to reset map control a little bit. He does have some stuff going for him with the Cyclops stab out here. Let's see. It looks like the Strigas weren't actually sent out over there. But yeah, look at this. Just the devastation, and now the Phalanx and Katas, they're not even deploying. He doesn't even need to deploy, so that's the answer to that question of whether or not Shambler can break out and wipe what's on his side of the map. The answer is no. And that will be game. Shopkeeper's stabbing back in the series. Okay, guys, we are going to be going into map 4. Punch Drunk will be the next one. As Shambler loses his natural and has nothing going left at his 3rd base. His Cyclops are all that he's got on this side. He's finally grabbed that grouping from 4 o'clock, but there's just nothing he can do. You know, this is like a desperate backstab. See if he can do some kind of counter push, but as these units all get evaporated and the natural continues to be enemy territory, he's pushing up and he's losing production. GG has got to be called. He's got the treasury in there, and that's all. What do I do here? Say GG. It's all right. Shopkeeper had his one. Shambler will have his. Oh, okay. No GG. All right, GG. GG, but no GG. All right. Shambler's victory is delayed. At least one game going the way of Shopkeeper in this series. It's time for game 4 between the Shambler and Shopkeeper Dog. Shopkeeper in the top right is the Ultramarine Terran. No, it's Zephyr. And Shambler is our red Terran in the top left. Shambler typing fun series. It's exactly what he did against Grass Eater. Shambler was thinking. Shambler, he was too busy thinking to type GG. It's so not in his DNA to type GG that it wasn't even like a decision. Like, maybe that's what happens when people don't type GG. They're just like, oh yeah, that doesn't matter. Yeah. Our handsome admin. So accurate. Yeah, I feel like if you don't type GG, you're not used to it. It's not a habit. And it gets to the point where, but I reached Zen. Unbelievable. Shit. Shambler had to actively realize he was having fun. And that's how he... yeah. That's true, I guess. What does that mean? How do you... Shambler, can you explain yourself in the chat? What is... You realize you're having fun. If I don't know, something about that feels like if you have to intellectually uncomprehend it, is it really having fun? Hey, I'm glad you're having fun, man. That's all I can say. I don't know why that really ruined me for a moment. There's something about that, man. I realized I'm having fun. Well, all right, let's try to lock in, boys. Double fulcrum for both players, of course. No changes there. This is a horizontal spawn, so close by air, we could see drops. I don't know. Well, I say that. Shambler's already going for a pretty fast star pad here. I think this is faster than his traditional timing. He usually, from memory anyway, is going like 3 fulc. Yeah, he goes for his expansion and his 3rd fulcrum and star pad. So there is something being changed up here. Shambler has been bested upon acid test. The fact that he said, I was thinking of ways to curse acid test, I think that's a real thing. Like, acid test is not... I mean, the original map, Litmus, has been pretty mediocre for StarCraft 1 games. And it had some interesting ideas. And obviously the Cosmonarchy port is a little bit different. Doesn't have the double gas in the main and stuff. It has, you know, typical resources. And you don't have to worry about, like, the... stasis fields or stasis cells in the north and south being stacked. Instead, it's just one. And I've got some ideas for how I might change it in the same way that I actually made modifications to Luna, even though that map is never going to be... It's called Tesseract in Cosmonarchy, but like I don't think that map is ever going to be a banger. But it is kind of cool. Like for show matches, when people pick the... when they pick Luna, because they're familiar with the map, you know, it's fine. They do it. Neo Luna, I think it is. Dude, I hit my bong, coughed my lungs out, and now I'm chilling. Oh, okay. What's up, dude? Hey, what's going on, Mr. Marsupial? How are you? Please do not ever think that Godweed is right when he tells you that a tournament is over, because he is wrong. Oh, the drop was preempted. The vultures were waiting here this entire time. It was a Cyclops drop indeed. Oh, God. Well... 3 out of 4 get out, but or maybe only 2 out of 4 got out, actually. But that was an immediate drubbing. So I think Shopkeeper can be pretty happy with this position. He's ahead. He's got his base up already. He's making a lot of Masons. And when he gets ahead in the worker count, it's pretty unlikely he's going to start to fall behind, at least ahead that much. See Shambler checking the base again to see, what did I see there? Anything in particular? But it's the 3 Fulc Palladium, just like on Acid Test. The Shopkeeper dog definitely going to be going for that. And are we going to get a star pad for Shopkeeper? It looks like this is more so like a Watchdog territory. He might go for another expansion as well pretty soon. Maps like this with the mineral-only bases are going to become a little bit more commonplace, I think. If you guys, by the way, if you guys thought that the map pool here in these first 3 tribunals had some interesting ones, like you're like, all right. I mean, Crisis Vector is pretty normal, and but you know, like Battle Spectre's kind of neat, and then you got like Punch Drunk, which is a 4-spawn map, and it's got the interesting trench map features and whatnot. Like, all right, okay, cool. And then you're also like, what's next? I mean, listen, just wait until you see the Tribunal 4, 5, and 6 map pool. It's going to be wild. And there's going to be a SCOZY involved. It's going to be so good. I like Jujik's explanation, though. That's pretty good. Lose so want to be mad. Realize games are too good to be mad. Telepathically GG because words aren't needed. Marsupial says it's so absolute Terran supremacy out there. It is TvT for the top 4. Yes, both semifinals will be TvT. I was talking about this a little bit earlier. If you didn't know that Weekend Wage was happening and had the results that it had, you would actually be under the impression that, hold on, Weekend Wage, results aside, it's a lot of Terran winning, you know? But in fact, it is not. And I can tell you that it's not because Weekend Wage shows like Protoss and Zerg winning a lot too. I had to go and buff the Wraith. I can't read that message out loud. We got scrapyards coming. It is a 4 Falk scrapyard push for Shambler. Got a lot of Cyclops again, of course. No surprises there. Interestingly enough, this little Phalanx push over here could result in some nice moves. The positioning across the bridges is going to make it really hard. But Shambler decides to short circuit that and come around from the east. This happens to be where Shopkeeper's army already is, though. So he can slow things down and get a lot of extra salvos out. But this will ultimately be cleaned. Even though Shambler isn't spreading his Cyclops, the 2 Phalanxes were right on top of each other, so they took a lot of extra splash. And that is a dead Phalanx push. Shopkeeper is going to need to figure out what's next. Making his 4 Fulcrums. Ministry number 3 on the way for both players. Shambler has expressed some distaste about mineral-only bases in the past, so I wonder if he's even going to bother taking this one. But I think it does provide you a lot of value. It's the quintessential thing Shambler would want, though. He can just make so many more Blackjacks or Mavericks or Cyclops. Obviously, Cyclops requires some Vespene, but they are a mineral-heavy unit. And Tier 2 has begun for our Shopkeeper. Going for that faster Tier 2 once again. Fulcrum number 6. Shambler's very committed to this 1 base, or Tier 1 tech stuff. And he is flying over to the 3 o'clock, actually. So I guess I was not kidding around when I mentioned that. Mineral-only bases are going to be taken by Shopkeeper, though. I like that he's guarding the 3 o'clock. I said 3 o'clock over here. I meant 9. I like that he's guarding the 3 o'clock. He's not interested in allowing that to occur. Doesn't want the extra Vespene to be on the side of Shopkeeper, who has kind of abandoned the Eidolon, huh? I don't know. I do not know, but Tier 2 is done. Another star pad being added, this time by Shopkeeper, and the second star pad for Shambler. Oh my god. What is... Building placement is a little bit better than it was on Acid Test, I guess. So mantles are coming up. A captaincy is on the way. I'm guessing we're going to see Striga Cataphract again to supplement what Shopkeeper has. But it's a pretty fast tier 2 when you factor everything in. A lot of minerals here should allow Shopkeeper to leapfrog into another base. I guess if I was going to look at this map structurally, I would actually say that the navigation to a third base with Vespene is actually quite difficult. You can try to take these bases at 3 and 9. The 12 and 6 ones seem like mostly suicide, to be honest. We have seen some good games. Shopkeeper. Shopkeeper, you're under attack. We have seen some good games on Punch Drunk. I remember the Ouya V Ultra games from a while ago. They were pretty entertaining. But for the most part, I feel like this map is pretty hard to make magic happen with. Speaking of, there's some Phalanxes being set up over here. The Cyclops drop for Shopkeeper has been spotted. He scoops up... Wait, he scooped up those Cyclops from right here. I heard the load sound. I was like, what is that? Shambler really couldn't figure out how to kill that Phalanx for a second. So the Ministry will float back there a little bit delayed. Another Cyclops has heckled this Trojan now, but it clearly is on a bead towards that extra base from Shambler. Scouted out. I don't think that... Oh, no! There was that Mason that was burrowed over there. That's what we saw killed over there earlier. This is a little bit annoying for Shambler, but he should be fine. He only lost 1 Mason. So, scooped up. Shopkeeper keeps him for later. A lot of minerals for Shopkeeper. That mineral-only base definitely paying out dividends, and he's secured 12 o'clock, sort of. He has created a base and floated it to 12, but it is not presently available for mining. In fact, Shambler is going to arrive there shortly with a lot of Cyclops. God damn, he's got a lot of Cyclops. It is just all Cyclops all the time. So the base gets lifted. Cataphracts are on the field. They're going to be added in to the Phalanx arsenal. Oof. Oof. Can't believe you killed my Mason. Now I will kill you. A lot of extra watchdogs in the meanwhile. Tier 2 is now beginning for Shambler. He really wants to defend 9 o'clock, which makes a lot of sense. This deployment up here feels like, on the one hand, Shopkeeper's kind of wild to expand towards his opponent. On the other, because of his composition being a lot less mobile than Shambler's, he wants to centralize his defense as easily as he can. And I feel like if he can siege up over here, he can also turn his defense into an attack pretty quickly. Especially as this treasury is being constructed on the 3rd base. And what would be really wild, but definitely possible, as there are no phalanxes for Shambler, is Shopkeeper could actually come over here, deploy this stuff, clear it out, then take this high ground and take a mineral-only base here. Even just denying it, though, would be pretty good, and using it as like a position of power. If Shopkeeper does take this game, which I think it's too early to call for anybody, although a 10 sender is being made, so fuck it. I hope Shopkeeper wins. He built the 10 sender. That's epic. Cyclops went for a run around because there's all those watchdogs in the way. They are going to get cleaned up, but they should be able to get some damage dealt here. Let's count. Oh, baby. That's a lot of Masons going down. Shopkeeper having that worker lead once again. And he also, I mean, he's displaced a ton of the military here. So, definitely put Shambler on a bit of the back foot. Base number 5 in the bottom left at, call it 8 o'clock there. 1 madcap, put it in the 10 sender. A lot of the Matadors here for Shambler are going to be very impactful, very important. And he should be able to get right on top of a lot of these phalanxes. Shopkeeper deployed on top of his own lobotomy mines, by the way. Does he have any reinforcements? He's got a lot of phalanxes pretty deeper into the line. This might be like a bait for the entire army of Shambler to come in here and just get annihilated. Oh my god, this is going to be so ugly. Shambler, no, don't do it! All your Anseals, oh, they're going to die to Strigas and Cyclopses. And don't come back. Shopkeeper Dog keeps the door shut. He lost some Masons harvesting some minerals, mostly gas, and he's going to rebuild the 10 sender, which is very cool. Yeah, I mean, it's an uncomfortably close position, right? Because of exactly what I was just talking about, and because of the presence of the phalanxes. Sentinels are fine in theory, but I feel like Sentinels are really good against the Cyclops, right? So if Shopkeeper was playing like Shambler, then Shambler would make perfect sense by doing this. But he's building them and he's up against, you know, Striga, Cataphract Phalanx. They kind of don't care about that. Now, what they do care about is when Matadors run up on the back line, but some reinforcements from Shopkeeper are going to make that a little bit of a hard sell. And is he going to have enough Cataphracts to just break through everything? Well, here, yes. But there are reinforcements that can come up from other places on the map. I say that, well, the treasury goes down in a blink of an eye due to its low armor and low HP. And honestly, I mean, this is just an absolutely disgusting loss of life over here on the high ground. I don't think Shambler can mount a successful defense from here. This has probably been the most comprehensive look that Shopkeeper has had in the series. He's got his own Cataphract, Shambler does. A couple more on the way, Goliaths as well, but there might be a chance that he can riposte this attack, but he's still never set up 8 o'clock. He's got this base mining fine. And still plenty of resources in the natural to go, but his main's depleted. Shopkeeper on the 4 base is going to be in a much better position than Shambler, so it would seem. Big deployment of the Phalanxes, bombs all of the Cataphracts on the high ground, and now I don't think the Natural is going to be able to endure. And once that cracks, the amount of money Shopkeeper has will be enough. I mean, he's even got a crazy mineral bank. This could definitely be over quickly here. Four more Cataphracts migrating across the bridges. You know, laser giraffe as a meme to describe Colossus in Starcraft 2? I don't know what Cataphracts would be, but they're not quite laser giraffes, are they? Well, Shambler, you're once again pulling the last vestiges of units that you've got from all walks of life across the map. Madcaps have arrived at 9 o'clock to deny that base. The Fulcrums are lifted to try to absorb the Cataphract shots. So crazy, it just might work, but you don't have enough other units, so... I love the big brain idea, but sadly, the Phalanxes do not care about that. Masons inside the main base are oh, no GG. Okay, that's what that means. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our final game of semifinal number 1. We got us another semifinal after this to go. And Shopkeeper Dog wants to Eidolon. It's his map pick. The upper seed gets to pick the decider. It's Knife's Edge, a 3-spawn map. And we have, you know, not vertical spawns, so not the closest in theory by air or anything, but you know, Shambler is going to be scouting for his opponent. Looks like he'll be scouting the wrong direction at first. This port of Dominator was done by Jujic, as was Punch Drunk, the port of Knockout. Shambler, our white Terran in the top left. Shopkeeper Dog at the 3 o'clock position is our Maya Blue Terran. I actually think the Eidolon build can be good. I just don't think Shambler... I don't think Shambler's style was what Shopkeeper Dog had predicted. I don't think that was exactly what we were going to expect. We got Solstice in the chat. Shout out Solstice. He says laser hippo instead of laser giraffe. Maybe. I could see that. I wonder what a laser gorilla would look like. I gotta make a Terran unit that's a laser gorilla. Or I guess it could be any unit. Anyway, I'm thinking a little too hard about Laser Gorilla. Sorry, guys. We have a bunch of Fulcrums coming up. Of course, it's going to be a 2-Fulc opener for both players. Knife's Edge TvT, a lot of it is about holding these positions, these sabers, as I've taken to calling them. Because, you know, I don't want to be so hungry that I think about pizza in the middle of my cast. So I'm not going to call them pizza slices, guys. Laser Gorilla, that's Penumbra. I agree with you, Green Eggs. Welcome to the stream. I know you've been here for a little bit, but I have verbally acknowledged your existence. Shopkeeper boxing with the Mason. No worries there. We have the second Fulcrum coming, of course, and I'm guessing this will be the same build as before, though I do want to call out Shopkeeper and say, brother, it's game 5. The pressure is mostly on Shambler, to be fair, but this is your last chance to show us what's up with the Eidolon. And he did say, you know, back to the drawing board, I guess. Is that bait? Is he going to go Eidolon for us? It looks like he's just 2-Fulc expand here, which is fine, but I want to see those stockades, man. I want to see that bio, and I want to see it work. Expansion on both sides at pretty similar timings here. I think these spawn positions are actually pretty exciting for TvT. They force you to expand in a bit of an angular direction if you want to take multiple bases, right? So, like, they might meet in the middle, maybe around this 9 o'clock position. That could be really fun. So I'm looking forward to this game. Oh, I did get a little bit of a warning, however. The replay for this game will be at one point later on. It will... Hold on. There's so many things that happen at once. My brain is exploding. So, first of all, we just got 3'd by Lucy. Thank you, Luciferius. Make the Sarathiel happen. Oh shit, $30. $30 for a bounty, unit bounty, to make a Azazel and what was it, Azazel Seraph combination or something like that for one of the factions. All right, buddy, let's do it. 07. Let's go. Thank you, sir, for your bounty there, your commission. And you know what? It's now part of Tribunal history that the Sarathiel, as we've taken to calling it, is started here in this Terran versus Terran map. Secondly, Shambler just said he can't believe Shopkeeper made Phalanx work? Phalanx, you know, the unit that dominates in TvT, one of the most iconic and quintessential units that Terran has? No, dude, Shambler's not a Terran player. Shambler's just moonlighting. Dude, there's no way he's a Terran player and he thinks Phalanx are fake. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And honestly, I have completely forgotten about what I was talking about. Oh, the replay for this will break late into the game, and I have a recording to fall back on. But I wanted to cast from the replay rather than that recording until we get to that point. So it'll be fairly seamless when we get to it. I've already prepared everything. We're all good in the hood. And yeah, I think it'll be just fine. So with that being said, let's lock in. The Palladium is on the way for Shopkeeper. Going for that 3 Folk style that he's been showing, so he will not be going Stockade. I wish that he had gone Eidolon. I really want to see the evolved version of Game 1. What does it look like? What is Game 1 or even Game 2? What does that look like? But Game 2 is more of a Tier 2 rush, to be honest. So, Game 1, though, the Stockade play, I really liked. I liked it. Unbelievable scenes if Shambler ends up getting to the grand final. I would predict that, even though Doglived is a pretty cool homie, and he has beaten Newt once recently, but that was actually his Protoss, I would predict that no matter what, basically, we're going to see Newt on that side of the bracket. Like 3-0, 3-1, 3-2. I think Newt's going to make it to the grand finals on the other side. But that being said, if Shambler gets there, I don't know how that's going to go, right? Like, what an upset, what a wild card that would be. Anseal scouting, overseeing a lot of the Phalanx. He'll know it's not going to be Eidolon Man. He will not have to worry about that. But what exactly does Shambler want to do at this point? He's got a Watchdog. He scouts that there's no star pad, so he can lift these off and go in different locations for them. Really, he was just shuffling it over a little bit for better mineral efficiency, it looks like. And indeed, we will be seeing a third base start up for him. Probably going to go here to the 1 o'clock position. I can't imagine Shambler bothering with the mineral only after he delayed it so long on Punch Drunk, but maybe Knife's Edge will play out differently. Welcome number 3 for the Shambler. And Shopkeeper Dog is continuing to mass out some of what he needs. Vultures come out. Tier 2 has begun. So it's exactly like the last 2 games, and those were the games that Shopkeeper won. So sticking to what has worked for him, will Shambler adapt the way that we need him to? If he wants the victory, he is going to need to find that successful attack timing. And that can be very dangerous, very hazardous, stressful, really. Doesn't quite clear all of those mines with those 2 sacrificial units, but he reveals the depth of the Phalanx line. A little bit of a run-by attempt for Shopkeeper with his own vultures now that they've laid their mines for the most part. He's going to get up here and be annoying at the 1 o'clock, but the Cyclops should be able to clear them pretty much just fine. I like that the vultures are kind of dancing with them and saying like, hey, you want to come here? You want to come walk into your own damage field? And Shambler is having to respect that with the micro. Base number 3 on the way for Shopkeeper. It's already done for Shambler. He actually is going to the mineral only. Look at that. Some character development. Funny thing to call that. 5 Folk for him. So he's got way better production than Shopkeeper, as you would expect for a tech rushing player. What is Shopkeeper going to be doing? First structure is a mantle. Once those Katas out, he's got his Phalanx, so he's going to take the position above his mineral only here with a lot of those. All these Cyclops and Ant-Seals waiting for the call, waiting for the signal. They might have a better chance of it attacking this top place, but it really depends. There's a lot of phalanx. The Ant-Seal's flying over, I like. He actually sees that there's no other units here, and so he just decides to take a stab at it, and that's just going to force Shopkeeper Dog's hand to come back down. Lobotomy Mine will be somewhat hazardous over here, but it's just the 4th base being taken, and 5th base. Oh, he actually lifted off of the mineral only. We were frauded. He frauded us, guys. We thought he was character developing. Instead, he's like, nah, I want gas. Understandable. 2 mantles, 2 captaincies. Shopkeeper hasn't yet started earning minerals from that 3rd base, but he will be soon. 5 vultures a pop for Shambler as more and more Vespian is harvested. I'm guessing he wants tier 2 himself. And there it is. Cataphract on the way. Tinkerer's Tower on the way. Feels like with Shopkeeper, he has this position where he doesn't actually have a fully set up defense, right? And well, Shambler sees what's happening here. He's actually going to pull his army away. I was going to say it would be good for him to attack soon before the tier 2 is up, so that he can try to make Shopkeeper rebuy his army for a lot longer and stall out the tier 2 pushes. There's a lot of units here for Shambler. Make no mistake, he's at 76 military. More than double what Shopkeeper has. A lot of the quality is higher because of the phalanxes. But there's no mines out here to slow down a push directly. I guess this position is pretty difficult to actually push into. But another scouting vulture denied. There's so many Cyclops. Is Shambler going to pull the trigger soon? His tier 2 is almost complete, so he'll have time to actuate it. But he needs to attack at the right time. He needs to be like teching behind his attack so that he has something to transition into afterwards. So his tier 2 is complete. He spots the position. He hasn't put down any facilities just yet. First cataphracts are sighted. The window is slowly closing, and Shambler's going to pull the trigger. He hasn't actually set up any tier 2. So this attack has to go really well for him, and the cataphracts are shouldering a lot of the burden. The phalanx count is pretty damn good, too. The Ant-Seals, they arrive way too late to the party, it feels like. The Strigas are out on the front line, and oh, God, is this what a reverse sweep looks like? Another base being built behind it, tier 2, and a lot of phalanxes not even in that fight. And just like that, Shambler's army is crushed. Now he sets up 5 mantles inside his main base. Gonna rally them out as best he can. 7 mantles, spending down the bank that he built up in that time. The Cataphract Remax is coming out, but he doesn't have nearly as many as before. You retreat to those phalanx lines, you're not gonna get anywhere with those Cyclops. What a rubble. What a catastrophe. And this is around the part where we are going to prepare that video file for you guys. I was recording it from Shambler's stream, no less. So that's where the recording is from. It feels like with the way that Shopkeeper went for this, Shopkeeper's just pushing forward. Shambler's got a lot of Cyclops still. The Cataphracts are in a good enough spot, but there's so many phalanxes. Shopkeeper deliberately leaving the line very deep, but Shambler's not biting. Shambler's not looking at that and saying, I can just deal with that. No worries. Ant-Seal count. Looking pretty damn good. They are pretty wounded, though. The Strigas can really screw them up. That firing line, especially with the range advantage, is going to be pretty damn good. The Ant-Seals flew in to Cyclops projectiles, not really where you want them. But everything's bunched up here for Shopkeeper, so his forward post struggling a little bit. Feels like overall, this is looking more and more just about ready for Shopkeeper to push up, maybe shut down some of these satellite bases. That feels like it's way too good in that respect for Shopkeeper to possibly drop this. He's going to push forward with his Strigas, though. He denies even more. There's some Catas coming out for Shambler. He's finally able to get his own Tier 2 actuator. Think about how long it's been. Think about how long it's taken him. But the Phalanx count is still going strong. We've got more of them pushing up, more of them pushing in, pressing in. Shambler's typing, but the two players are synced, so that's not really a problem. So as you can see, Shambler's FPV is such that Shopkeeper Dog is pushing up to the 12 o'clock. That bottom right base was actually established for realsies. We have some Shambler network lag, classic move. But he is going to be able to deny that and shut that down. If he can hold back at the main base, we can actually get somewhere with this. The Phalanx count, not enough to really dive that back with, especially when you factor in all those Catas. Some lifted structure, probably a ministry just got blown up there. And it feels like right about now, this is where you need a little bit more action from the deployment, like the Phalanxes or something. I can't see how deep the line is for Shopkeeper, though. He's got a lot more Catas, but I don't see the Phalanx count. Oh, Azazels have been made. That's Defensive Matrix coming in. Oh, good grief. I should have taken Shopkeeper Dog's POV, I think. I forgot how laggy this was. The Phalanx count is still pretty good. Is there anything in those satellite bases? Shambler doesn't seem to have any production going on in those spots. He's got more units coming out. He's going to have to change his rallies to the main base. This is where things get really desperate, though. He's lost his natural, as limited of a viability as it was. He could have been mining minerals this whole time at that 9 o'clock. The pressure is getting to him. His grand final aspirations. He's going to have to lift off with the Fulcrums to once again try to body block all of those Catas and see if he can break out again. He's got good economics elsewhere. He's got 3 mining bases and a 4th one ready to be set up. And remember, Shopkeeper didn't expand a lot, right? He lost bottom right. If we can only see Shambler deny this push, things will be different. But there's another force from Shopkeeper moving along the bottom part of the map. And I feel like there's nothing in ready, because it would have been just scrambled over here for the front line, so we would have seen it there. We would have seen it then. Durandal's coming out. That's probably the missing ingredient, but Strigas, they're starting to attack. We got some Sentinels over there in the top left. This is looking very dire. I feel like right about now, the reality might actually be setting in. The Phalanx count is so damn high. And, well, Shambler has started the typing. Ladies and gentlemen, this one is coming to a close. Shopkeeper Dog has actually done it. Fate wasn't with me today. GG. Well, just like that, folks, life comes at you fast. Shambler reverse sweep. He got his way here by reverse sweep, and then he defeated Nebline, which was just straight up pretty good. I'm impressed. I'm surprised. But then after that, you know what happened. You know what went down. The Shopkeeper kept the shop under control. There's a ornery customer knocking shit off the walls, breaking stuff, ruining some of his prized possessions. But it was not to be, ladies and gentlemen.